Our gathering song for the month of July, number 1008, When Our Heart is in a Holy Place. Please rise in body or in spirit. I get my stuff in order. When our heart is in a holy place, when our heart is in a holy place, we are blessed with love and amazing grace. When our heart is in a holy place, when we trust the wisdom in each of us, every color, every creed and kind, and we see our faces in each other's eyes, then our heart is in a holy place. When our heart is in a holy place, when our heart is in a holy place, we are blessed with love and amazing grace. Heart is in a holy place, when our heart is in a holy place.
Good morning. Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Society. We're grateful to gather for a time of inspiration, reflection, and connection. Whether you join us today with joy in your heart, weighted with burdens, or searching for meaningful connections, we're glad that you are here. My name is Art Bareka. My pronouns are he, him, and I am a worship associate today. I'm a 67-year-old white man, 5'11", wearing a, if you come up close, you could tell that it's a little bit of a plaid jacket. Not too plaid, though. I'm standing in the UUS's pulpit at the front of our sanctuary. This room and the adjoining commons are filled with people of all ages. Through the window walls of our sanctuary, we connect to the natural world around us, where it is a sunny, warm and getting warmer day. As we gather, we give thanks for this land and all who have cared for it over the centuries, particularly the Kickapoo, the Iowa, the Sauk, and the Meskwaki, and the Oceti-Sakowin nations. As people of many ages, genders, races, sexual orientations, classes, abilities, and health statuses, we know how important it is to come together and work together to create a radically welcoming spiritual community. As Unitarian Universalists, our faith expresses our core value of love through how we agree to be together and to support each other. We are guided by the shared principles, sources, and values of our living religious tradition. This morning, as we explore the nature of curiosity, we will celebrate our value of interdependence and the living tradition of openness to the forces which create and uphold life. If doing something with your hands helps you, we invite you to visit the soul work table outside the sanctuary doors to pick up an exploratory guide or coloring sheet related to today's service or something else to work with. If you are newer to our congregation, we invite you to learn more about us after the service by talking with a greeter or by filling out our visitor form in YouTube Notes so we can connect with you. Today's call to worship is The Mysterious Pull of the Unanswerable by Bran Lennox. We have chosen to bring ourselves here to this sanctuary to gather as a community of faith. We join together in solidarity as a covenanted people who are drawn together by the promise of connection and the mysterious pull of the unanswerable. We draw on experiences of love and wonder to lift our hearts and move us beyond the mundane. As seekers, wanderers, appreciators of nature, connoisseurs of curiosity, and creators of connection, our paths have converged today so that we might become present to the spirit that is worship. And so let us worship together.
Our opening hymn for this morning is number 145, As Tranquil Streams. Please rise in body or in spirit. As tranquil streams that meet and merge and flow as one to seek the sea, our kindred hearts and minds unite to build a church that shall be free, free from the bonds that bind the mind to narrow thought and lifeless creed, free from a social code that fails to serve the cause of human need, a freedom that reveres the past but trusts the dawning future more, and bids the soul in search of truth adventure boldly and explore. Prophetic church, the future waits your liberating ministry. Go forward in the power of love, proclaim the truth that makes us free.
As Unitarian Universalists, we light a flame within a chalice as a symbol of sanctuary, safety, and hope, to unite us in our worship and to remind us of our ongoing search for the light of truth. Please join me in saying our chalice lighting words as Isabel lights our chalice. Life is a gift for which we are grateful. We're in community to celebrate the wonder and the mystery of this great gift. So let us now kindle the flame of our liberal religious heritage and renew our covenant of mutual love and care. Love is our doctrine, the quest for truth is our sacrament, and service is our prayer. Dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge and freedom, and to serve those in need. This we promise, this we covenant, with life and one another. We also light a candle for justice and healing as a reminder of our interdependence with Earth and with all members of the global community, especially the most vulnerable. We light this candle so that we may not be numbed to injustice and trauma, but rather find strength, courage, and love as we work in solidarity with others for liberation, justice, and healing. Together, we create resilience and hope. Today, as we light this candle, we're particularly mindful of those whose rights of citizenship are continually under assault, even to the point of death. May we never cease to learn and understand as much as we can about their lives and their struggles, in the process deepening our empathy and inspiring action on their behalf. As I light this candle, let's hold a time of silence to listen to our hearts and bodies, or perhaps to lift up prayers.
Good morning. My name is Nick Kaplan. My pronouns are they, them, and for 2 more Sundays, I am your grateful Director of Lifespan Religious Education here at UUS. UUS is the second congregation that I have served as staff and is about to be the second of 3. And leaning into today's theme of curiosity and wondering, I wonder what your questions are. What your questions about the congregation that I served before this one, the wonderful times, maybe you're curious about my favorite things about serving you here at UUS. Maybe you have questions about the next congregation that I am moving on to serve. So, in that wondering, I wonder who will be brave enough to ask the first question. Edie, yes. Where was my first congregation and how long was I there? Thank you. My first congregation was in central Indiana, in Muncie, home of Ball State University. We were a Unitarian Universalist Church of Muncie. I started volunteering there early in 2018, and I became staff in 2020. And so I was there only as staff for 2 years before coming here full time. Yes, Miriam. My greatest learning at my former church and now here. At my former church, one of the greatest pieces of wisdom that I received was a reminder to listen. You might have noticed, have a little bit of spunk and energy, a little bit of let's get up and go, let's do the next thing. And not everyone at my last congregation was always ready to do the next thing. And so my biggest learning there was learning to listen and wait. Here, gosh, Here, I think one of the greatest learnings that I've come to is what a gift multi-generational opportunities can be. How important it is for a thriving community, for elders and children who aren't related to each other to come together. I've seen some really beautiful relationships blossom here. And I think that's one of the biggest learnings is not to give up on those moments. Yeah, John. How do I keep my energy up when dealing with so many different age groups? I don't know, I go home and crash. Finding things that feed me spiritually. Music feeds me, being outside feeds me. My daughter just said coffee feeds me. Well, it can, yeah. So, yeah. I have the 9 and 12-year-olds saying, yeah, coffee is super important. They're not wrong. Yeah, Sue. Oh, what activities and rituals will I take to my next job? What was that last part? That I learned here or that we started here? That I started here. Gosh. I love our lantern ritual. I love that we take the light from our chalice to take that with us as a symbol. I love that we go outside so much, taking that opportunity to learn from the land around us. The birthdays on the wall in there. UUS's birthday is in November, and I love when we have celebrated that. So celebrating the congregation's birthday as a whole is something that I am looking forward to. Yeah, Judy. My favorite part about being in this congregation, I should have anticipated that question, and I feel like it's not fair because there are so many things I have loved about being here. One, many of you have heard me say, come with me. I have loved the people here so much because that's what makes us, right? The people who come here each week, whether in person or virtually, or maybe not each week, maybe it's every couple of months or whatever. The people have been a really big part of that, and how much all the people here care about the wider community and our land has been really special to me as well. Yeah. Okay, other than UUS, something local park or restaurant or activities, things that we will miss. We really love our time here. The Riverside Crossing. Oh, Riley says Encounter. Encounter Cafe. We really love, we call it Nature Play. Riverside Crossings, is that the actual name? We love Riverside Crossings Park. I love Weatherby and the edible forest that's there and the public, like the community gardens that are at Weatherby. Yeah. Can I remind you where I'm going? That's a great question. Thank you, worship team. My next congregation is in Matamidi, Minnesota. It's White Bear UU Church. It's kind of really cool. Alongside that question, my last congregation was the Church of the Woods. This congregation is the greenest church in Iowa. White Bear is known as the Church of the Earth. So that might share a little bit about my trajectory of where I've landed. Okay, go ahead, Judy. One thing, if I could choose one thing, narrowing those things down, that's really hard. If I could choose one thing from this congregation to always have, what would it be? I really love our focus on accessibility. The accessible labyrinth. My next congregation will have a labyrinth, but not the beautiful one that is maintained here. I love that we have spaces at our tables for people with mobility aids, that's just a given, that we make space for that. I love that there are outdoor spaces that can be enjoyed regardless of your mobility needs. We've got the gardens out front and a path all the way around the building. Love all of that. I am running out. I don't have any more time. We've got you live with me. No. So I have a question for you all before I go. Something that I've heard over the last couple of weeks, a significant amount, is your appreciation for what has grown during my time here, your appreciation for the programming, your appreciation for the vibrant life in the congregation. And I'll share my wondering with you. I wonder how many of you can help this continue going and continue growing. We have an amazing community here at UUS, and I'm curious who will move into these roles of leadership to continue guiding the children and youth, to continue supporting each other, to companion the adults as you continue your personal search for truth. I wonder who those people will be. And there's a sign-up sheet in the fellowship hall so that later, when you head to the fellowship hall, you can add your name so the RE team knows that you want all of this to continue and how you can spend 1 hour a month making sure that that happens. So we have reached the time in our service where children, youth, and teachers, it's that time of year, head outside. We're looking at ecosystems, and today we're looking especially at interdependence and curiosity about how many things on our land are edible. So, children, youth, and teachers, can you please come forward as Libby lights our lantern from our chalice and we all join in singing.
Be open for something wonderful to happen. Be open to the possibility. Be open for something wonderful to happen. Be open to the possibility.
Good morning. My name is Kezia Walker Cecil, and I am a tall white person with red hair and glasses, dressed in a summery orange floral top and gray dress pants. I'm a worship associate here at UUS, and I use she and they pronouns. Nurturing gratitude and how we understand and express interdependence is part of how we live into our Unitarian Universalist faith. As we enter into this time of meditation, contemplation, and prayer, we take the time to acknowledge the joys and sorrows of our congregation. We do this by dropping stones into a bowl of water, symbolically immersing our personal joys and sorrows into the flow of all of life's joys and sorrows. The water surrounds and holds the stones, just as we are surrounded and held by the love and support of this congregation. For those who would like to share their joys or sorrows in conversation in a smaller venue, the Pastoral Care Associates will be leading a Compassionate Connection Circle in the Walnut Room immediately after today's worship service. These circles, which happen on second and fourth Sundays, are opportunities to share with and support each other in our lives' journeys. If you are participating in our service elsewhere, you may wish to meditatively hold a stone, wash your hands, or meditate on an object near you. If you are in this sanctuary today and you feel called to do so, please come forward, take a stone from the basket, and place your stone in the water as we sing together.
When I breathe in, I'll breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I'll breathe out love. When I breathe in, I'll breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I'll breathe out love. When I breathe in, I'll breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I'll breathe out love. When I breathe in, I'll breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I'll breathe out love. When I breathe in, I'll breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I'll breathe out love. When I breathe in, I'll breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I'll breathe out love. When I breathe in, I'll breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I'll breathe out love. Breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out. When I breathe in, I'll breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I'll breathe out love.
This section of our service is the section of meditation, contemplation, and prayer. And a lot of times we focus on the first or the last pieces of that. But today, I invite you to lean into the contemplation piece. Specifically, I invite you into the contemplation of light. If it helps you to have a visual aid, I encourage you to observe the beautiful sunlight and shadow that is dappling across our sanctuary space, or the flickering light of our chalice. Light is essential for our life on this planet, yet our best explanations for what it is are still growing and evolving as we find new ways of observing and manipulating it. I encourage you right now to think back to a memory of when you wondered about the nature of light. Maybe it was playing with a kaleidoscope as a child, manipulating the little pieces of colored glass into new shapes as light ricocheted back and forth through the toy and the mirrors and into your iris. Maybe it was seeing colorful stripes of light emerging from a prism and glittering across the floor, or following the sparkle of light across the ceiling as someone moved their hand and light reflected off their jewelry. Maybe it was shaking out a Polaroid picture and watching the colors slowly emerge as the film developed in real time. Are you remembering a moment when you wondered about light? Maybe you're having a moment right now. I'd like to take us all to take a moment together to wonder about light. I'm not asking you to remember facts about the electromagnetic spectrum or laws of reflection and refraction. I'm asking you to contemplate what you want to know about light in this moment. And it's okay if you have a question that we don't know the answer to yet. That's what makes light amazing. We don't have to understand it to appreciate it and benefit from it. So I'll give you a moment to formulate a question, or maybe a few. Here are a few questions that I had when contemplating light. Feel free to borrow or steal these for yourself. What does sunlight look like to a bumblebee? Can it see more colors of sunshine because it has more lenses letting light in to its optical processing center? Does the word light, as in not heavy, have the same roots as the light as that we use to talk about sunshine and sparkly things? Why, in the Jewish creation story, does God choose to create light first? Why did light have to be created and not darkness? Clearly, you can see that my brain likes to go on rabbit trails of language and metaphor, even when it's entirely not necessary. I'm sure you came up with better questions. So let's go back to that contemplation. Did you find a question? Was it hard to find one? Was it easy? Are you still going to be thinking about this for the rest of the day? How does it make you feel to know that you don't know everything there is to know about light? Does it make you nervous? Does it make you feel relieved? Do you feel lighter, maybe? It's okay not to know everything about everything all of the time. Thank you for sharing this time of contemplation with me.
This reading is a poem titled Curiosity by Alistair Reid. May have killed the cat. More likely, the cat was just unlucky, or else curious to see what death was like. Having no cause to go on licking paws or fathering litter on litter of kittens predictably. Nevertheless, to be curious is dangerous enough. To distrust what is always said, what seems, to ask odd questions, interfere in dreams, smell rats, leave home, have hunches, does not endear cats to those doggy circles where well-smelt blankets, baskets, suitable wives, good lunches are the order of things, and where prevails much wagging of incurious heads and tails. Face it, curiosity will not cause us to die, only lack of it will. Never to want to see the other side of the hill, or that improbable country where living is an idol, although a probable hell, would kill us all. Only the curious have if they live a tale worth telling at all. Dogs say cats love too much, are irresponsible, are dangerous, marry too many wives, desert their children, chill all dinner tables with tales of their 9 lives. Well, they are lucky. Let them be 9-lived and contradictory, curious enough to change, prepared to pay the cat price, which is to die and die again and again, each time with no less pain. A cat minority of 1 is all that can be counted on to tell the truth. And what cats have to tell on each return from hell is this: that dying is what the living do, that dying is what the loving do, and that dead dogs are those who never know that dying is what, to live, each has to do.
I really love that poem. I would say I'm a very initially reluctant cat person, but now I'm a very unabashed cat person. But I love how the metaphor and language around cats and dogs is kind of encouraging that there are different ways to look at life. There's not one right way, and I feel like that poem illustrates it really beautifully. I've had the amazing privilege this summer to help out with the UUS summer camps. And one delightful aspect of working with kids is the number of times a day I get to answer the question, why? I'm sure there will be days when I say that sarcastically, but today is not that day. Many of us associate curiosity with children, and rightly so, because curiosity is an important component of learning, which is basically what a job of a child is to do, to learn about the world. Curiosity about something leads us to pay more attention to that thing, which often leads to learning more about that thing we're paying attention to. Curiosity is also linked to other positive outcomes other than just learning. Curiosity is often a sign of good mental health, like a strong heartbeat or clear lungs are a sign of good physical health. Probably the best way to illustrate this is to think of what the hallmarks are for poor mental health: disinterest, isolation, that general feeling of blah. Curiosity, in opposition, is the drive to pay attention, to dig in, and it often results in us connecting to the world in new ways, either by pursuing knowledge or pursuing new experiences. Mindfulness is a great example of reframing our perceptions of the world and of ourselves by paying attention in a slightly different way. Mindfulness meditation is about observing our thoughts and feelings without judgment. This allows us to move out of the mental space of experiencing our emotions and into a space of noticing how our emotions impact our bodies and our thought patterns. Neurologically, purposefully choosing curiosity activates our parasympathetic nervous system. This allows our bodies to enter into a state of rest and recovery. Grounding practices like attending to your breathing or naming things that you can sense in the world around you helps you disengage from panic spirals. And all of these practices are grounded in the question of what is happening around me right now. Purposefully moving your body into calming breath patterns and your thoughts into observation mode helps to deactivate our panic mode and move the mind and body into a space of healing. Engaging in curiosity outside of grounding and mindfulness meditation also helps your brain practice these restful and healing brainwave patterns. Curiosity has also been linked to improved neuroplasticity. Neuroplasticity is this really cool ability that our human brains have to constantly be building new connections and pathways of neural activation. This is the reason why someone could relearn how to walk or talk after a traumatic brain injury. Even though we can't regenerate brain tissue, our brains can reroute the way neural impulses pass through the brain to create new pathways of processing information, even with significant tissue loss. Neuroplasticity is something that we all maintain, even as we age. Anytime we encounter new information, the neurons inside our head adjust and adapt the way that they store information. The more we put ourselves purposefully in the path of new experiences and sensations, the more practice our neurons get in developing plasticity. Practicing curiosity helps our brains age well by giving our neurons new and more sensations to process. Curiosity also does some other really cool neurobiological stuff. When you're curious, you activate your hippocampus and your prefrontal cortex. Without getting too much into brain biology, which I probably already have, sorry, the hippocampus and the prefrontal cortex are the part of your brain that help you build memories and engage in critical thinking. We typically can only use these areas of the brain when we're not in panic mode or experiencing anxiety or fear. As kids, our instinctual reaction to new and uncomfortable situations is something called perceptual curiosity. It is this biological drive to figure out where the uncomfortable sensations are coming from, and maybe also then how to make them stop. We develop memories from these experiences that help us remember what makes us feel bad. And eventually, we can take what we've learned to predict whether a situation is likely to bring good feelings or bad feelings. As we get older, we don't tap into this perceptual curiosity as often, tending to engage instead in something called epistemic curiosity, which is a more intellectually driven path to finding out about new things. But we never lose this ability to tap into perceptual curiosity, meaning that our brains are still 100% capable of processing new and possibly scary things with a "this is new, what is this?" approach, rather than "I don't know what this is, it's probably here to kill me" response. Perceptual curiosity takes new information without pressing the panic button, and instead uses neurological pathways that encourage dopamine production and critical thinking. Okay, cool, but why are you talking about brain biology on a Sunday morning? Aren't the semester services supposed to be about flourishing together? I know, I'm getting there, I promise. See, I like to learn stuff about our brains and how we learn and how we adapt to change. Because I have a brain, and I like learning, and change is pretty much inevitable. Learning about neuroscience and psychology helps me understand what it means to be a human. I also like to learn about different forms of spiritual practice. This, too, is a way of understanding what it means to be a human and how to interact with the world. I especially like it when I find connections between these two areas of interest. I have the official diagnoses of generalized anxiety disorder and depression. There is something about my brain chemistry that makes it very easy to get caught up in patterns of stress and sadness. But I also know that the human brain is plastic, meaning that it can create new pathways and adjust itself based on new experiences. Just because I tend to feel sad and stressed doesn't mean that's how it always has to be. I have found the spiritual practice of gratitude to be particularly helpful as an antidote to my own maladjusted brain chemistry. Practicing gratitude consistently helps me get out of my own head and feelings and to look for the good in the world. It connects me with others. It reminds me that I actually do like people and everything isn't always awful. I also have been practicing finding the joy in my daily life, over the last year especially. This and the gratitude practice are ways of helping my brain get out of its own cycle of ack and blah, and stimulates a little dopamine production on purpose. The best part of my joy practice is that I don't do it alone. I have this group chat with friends where we share little snippets of our lives that bring us joy. Book recommendations, funny video clips, photos of babies and pets and summer sunsets and boba tea. My friend started the group chat because she was struggling with some big life stuff and the general state of the world. She asked us to send her some of our little joys as a way of supporting her from halfway across the world. These little joys have spilled over in my life from that one group chat to another group chat to in-person conversations and many other aspects of my life. I've become a fierce collector of the good stuff, wherever it might be found. Joy is, after all, a means of resisting oppression. While practicing joy and practicing gratitude, I'm helping my brain learn patterns of looking for good stuff rather than stuff to be upset about. Both of these practices have been shown to help people process trauma because they're breaking out of the pain and panic cycles of the brain by forcing our brains to pay attention to something else. These practices have also led me to better friendships, a stronger feeling of community, and a stronger interconnection with people in many areas of my life. In other words, these practices have helped me flourish. At the same time as I was leaning into these practices, I was having more and more conversations with people about willful ignorance and intentional misinformation and how destructive these things are in our world, and how much I was seeing more and more of it every day. So I started thinking, what is the antidote for willful ignorance and misinformation? Curiosity, of course. Then I put that in context with what I had learned about gratitude and joy, and how I'd learned that the neurological bases of a gratitude practice and a joy practice help your brain rewire itself into more healthy patterns. And then I did what I usually do when I think about something new to me. I went on a deep dive, and I learned a lot about the neurobiology of curiosity and its relationship to other emotions like fear and anger. The gist of what I learned, besides what I talked about earlier, is that our brains have a hard time being curious and afraid at the same time. Practicing curiosity has proved helpful in both trauma recovery and anger management. And in a world full of anger, fear, and compounding trauma, maybe we all need to be practicing a little bit more curiosity. A lot of what I was reading had to do with curiosity on the individual level. Mindfulness meditation, grounding practices, all these things were things that helped a single brain and body reorient themselves to the world in a more healthy mindset. So that made me wonder, what would it look like for curiosity to be a communal spiritual practice? I believe that's exactly what it means to be part of a faith community. Because asking questions is not antithetical to faith. The whole definition of faith is that there's something we don't know entirely, but we believe the answers can be found. In my own personal theology, I don't define faith as the opposite of doubt. The opposite of faith is certainty. There are some things in life and in this universe that are impossible to know entirely. Our knowledge of so many things is evolving. Particle physics, neuroscience, the exact classification of mushrooms in relation to plants. But that doesn't mean that we stop asking questions about them or trying to understand more about how they work. The fourth principle of Unitarian Universalism is a free and responsible search for truth and meaning. That sure sounds like communal curiosity to me. Reverend Paige Getty explained that mindful people will, in every age, discover new insights. And I feel like that is a great commentary on our shared collective faith. Curiosity ties strongly with our shared value of pluralism as well. The way I understand the world is not the same way that you understand the world, and we both can learn something from hearing the other's perspective. I don't have all the answers, for sure, even on the question of how curiosity can be a sacred communal practice. But I do have one example of what it could look like to practice curiosity in beloved community. And this is what I'm going to leave you with today. I was invited to be part of a conflict resilience class with Hope for Us. And one of the skills that we practiced together in the class was active listening. We listened to and honored each other's experiences by accepting all experiences and perspectives as valid, even when our own experiences or perspectives didn't seem to be in alignment. Throughout the class, we consistently returned to the shared values of Unitarian Universalism and asked, what does it look like to apply this value in a moment of conflict or difficulty? And just as consistently as we returned to that question, my understanding of the value of pluralism as a lived value kept coming back to the same thing. Pluralism directly relates to asking questions in response to conflicting opinions or viewpoints. Not, how could you believe that? But more like, what leads you to that conclusion? Why is this so important to you? Can you tell me a little bit more about what you meant by that? Loving curiosity requires humility to acknowledge that I do not know everything, nor do I know what's best. It requires the grace to listen and learn, even when I don't think that I agree. It also requires the faith that somehow truth is there in the conversation and in the conflict in between us. This summer, as a community, we're going through a lot of change. We're going to be experiencing a lot of things that are uncomfortable and new. And I encourage us all to tap into that practice of perceptual curiosity that we all have experience with when we encounter these new and uncomfortable things. Instead of saying, how can I stop being uncomfortable? Or why do things have to change? Let's think, what can I learn from this? What is there here that I don't know? there are still a lot of things that we have to learn about the world, and it's okay if we don't know everything. May we be patient and gentle with ourselves and each other, and may we always stay curious.
Thank you. Thank you very much. How we give and what we do with our lives is a reflection of our values. As we discern how abundance flows in different parts of our lives and communities, every week this congregation donates generously to organizations in the community whose work aligns with our values and principles. Cash and non-pledge offerings are shared between our community partner agencies and UUS, with 75% going to support our partners. Our community partner agency this month is the Immigrant Welcome Network of Johnson County. This organization was started in 2023 to prevent homelessness and build long-term community power. Their services include both temporary and permanent housing assistance to immigrants new to Johnson County and the United States, as well as connections to community resources to ensure that our new neighbors from across the globe are able to establish a long-term thriving life in Johnson County. Today we will hear from Jasmine Tsai, the Vice President of Immigrant Welcome Network, who will tell us a little more about this organization and what they do in our community. If you're writing a check in the memo line, please either write pledge to contribute to your annual pledge or offering to support our social justice giving. You can follow the instructions on the screen to give online or via text. Your offerings are a sign of your commitment to this congregation, which is completely supported by the generosity of all who join with us. As we give and receive the offering, may we be transformed by our giving. May the world be transformed by our gifts. And I think I got ahead of ourselves a little bit here. Jasmine. Welcome.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. My name is Jasmine Tsai. My pronouns are she, her. I am an Asian woman with my 7-month-old son strapped to my front here. This is Arlo. Thank you guys for having me. Thank you guys for inviting me here. So I'm the vice president on the board of the Immigrant Welcome Network. Sounds really fancy, but basically 2 years ago, I saw a call for volunteering at our first ever annual gala, which was hosted right here in our fellowship hall. I was cutting fruit in the kitchen, and the president of the board was like, "Do you want to be on the board? You seem like you have some leadership skills and probably bossiness in me." So ever since I've been on the board and basically help out where I can. Our organization was started by Mazahir Salih, one of our city council members here. She's the first Sudanese American city councilor in the US, and we have a sizable Sudanese population because of the war that's going on in Sudan, and we also have other refugees and immigrants from all over the world. Our core work is our 3 welcome houses where we, I think, have a bed capacity of 40 beds where families can come and stay with us until they find a job and find a suitable living situation, rental place outside of the welcome house within our network of employers and landlords who love having us in our community. My own parents immigrated from Taiwan in search of higher education. They came here for graduate school. We're very lucky in that. And I always thought of the US as a really welcoming and comfortable place for people of all different shapes and colors and backgrounds. And I think what drew me to sign up for volunteering for that first gala was just wanting to do my part in showing our new friends who we are and that who we still are despite, the larger environment right now. So that's a little bit about who we are and why I am involved. Thank you so much for having me again. I'll hang out in the fellowship hall. Oh, one more thing is we are again hosting our gala in the fellowship hall at the end of August. This is our third annual gala. It's our biggest fundraiser of the year, and as a young organization, it's very important for us to keep up the energy and the involvement in the community. So if you're interested, please come to our gala, and we'll be happy to have you. Thank you.
May what has been shared today help us more fully affirm our interconnection and live into love and justice. After the service, we gather in the fellowship hall and outside for conversation and community. If you're a newcomer, we hope you'll grab a snack and then sit at any table so folks can join you for some conversation. Today is the second Sunday of July, so the social justice table is set up in the fellowship hall. Stop by and see how you can get involved there. The pastoral care associates will also be leading a compassionate connection circle in the Walnut Room immediately after today's worship service. This coming Saturday afternoon is Bridget Laughlin's ordination service at 2 p.m. Please come out and support her if you can.
Our closing hymn for this morning is number 298, Wake Now My Senses. Please rise in body or in spirit. Wake now my senses and hear the earth call. Feel the deep power of being in all. Keep with the web of creation your vow, giving, receiving, as love shows us how. Wake now my reason, reach out to the new. Join with each pilgrim who quests for the true. Honor the beauty and wisdom of time. Suffer thy limit and praise the sublime. Wake now, mom, passion, give heed to voices of suffering, fill the wide sky. Take as your neighbor both stranger and friend, praying and striving their hardship to end. Wake now my vision of ministry clear, brighten my pathway with radiance here. Mingle my calling with all who will share. Work toward a planet transformed by our care.
Please join me in the words for extinguishing the chalice. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. All these we carry in our hearts and in our minds until we are together again.
As you go out into the world this week, may you remember that your brain is plastic. May you be open to curiosity. May your heart be soft towards the things that you do not know and do not yet understand. Be kind to yourselves, be kind to each other, and stay curious.